I imagine fall being like this. When leaves turn into vibrant red and orange colors, there is some Christmas in the air, and it just generally feels very cozy. But fall in Valencia feels different. And because it is different, I decided to make a video and show you how Valencia looks like during the fall time, and also compare it to North Carolina, where we lived before we moved to Spain. So let's get started. Today's the 11th of November and it's 21 degrees Celsius outside. It's super warm. I'm wearing just a t-shirt, a light shirt on, and just a pair of jeans. And because it's still so warm, it's sunny and it's a clear sky, I still don't have this feeling of the real fall. I have to admit, I do miss yellow and orange foliage like it was in North Carolina. These photos were taken at the end of October, in the beginning of November last year in Raleigh, where we lived in North Carolina, and now compare them to photos from Valencia. There is even not that much what to show. The foliage just looks brown, dry, and kind of ugly, and there are no vibrant colors of red, yellow, or orange. I was actually surprised not to see almost any yellow foliage here. As you can see, the grass is still green, trees are green, bushes and plants are green. Some flowers are still blooming, and it rather feels spring than fall. So I was curious why it's like that in Valencia, and there are mainly two reasons why.
So first of all, most of the trees here are evergreen trees, like orange trees, palms, cypress and olive trees. They maintain their green foliage throughout the year. When in North Carolina, mostly grow maple trees, oak and sweet gum trees that are famous by their star-shaped leaves.
And the second reason why foliage here is not that yellow is because of the temperature differences. So the temperature is more or less the same during the day between Raleigh and Valencia. It's around 23 degrees Celsius now in Raleigh because of its humid subtropical climate. But the temperature does drop at night, and that contrast actually helps foliage to turn into yellow and orange colors. While in Valencia, the temperature doesn't drop that much and it still remains pretty warm and humid even during the nighttime.
So your typical autumn scenery would be a clear sky most of the time, with evergreen trees and palms and dry brown foliage on the streets.
When I asked my local friends what can I try from food that is eaten during the fall time in Spain, they recommended me to try churros and buñuelos de calabaza. So churros, I know what it is. I tried them on Polish Christmas market, but they were without chocolate. Here in Spain, they eat churros with chocolate. And buñuelos, I was like, what's that? So it appears to be like deep fried donuts, and they are made of pumpkin puree with some added spices like nutmeg and cinnamon. So we won't go crazy today. I just ordered one donut to try and one churro with chocolate. So it looks like that. So I have here chocolate and a pumpkin donut with the churro. I suspect it will be very sweet. That's why I ordered just one donut to try and one churro. Okay, let's have the donut first. We'll dip it in the chocolate. Wow, it's so thick. I'm probably covered with chocolate right now. Thank God my husband doesn't see that. He would be so against me eating fried donut with chocolate. But it's dark chocolate, so it's not that sweet. And the donut, yeah, it's deep fried. I cannot say that I taste pumpkin a lot, maybe just a little bit. but it's not as sweet as I imagine it to be actually. Let's try churro now. Mm, very crunchy. And it's actually not that sweet. I mean, it's not something you would eat a lot because it's still deep fried, but not as sweet and as bad as I imagine it to be. I don't know, I cannot finish it, especially, I mean, sure I finished, but the donut is too, it's too deep fried, and I already feel like I'm full. If you want to try it, just take one thing at a time because it's just too much. So, what surprised me about the fall in Valencia? September is still a good month to swim because it's still warm and not so many rainy days. But I saw kids swimming on the 21st of October. That was crazy. The water wasn't that cold, but I don't know, I wouldn't dare to swim at that time of the year. What else surprised me is the high number of tourists still visiting Valencia during the fall time. If during the summer it was mostly young people, couples, families, students, but now in September and October, there are seniors who are traveling in groups, having tours and excursions, and believe me, they're everywhere. And by the way, don't think that it's perfect climate here and warm and sunny every day. I didn't know that the east and south coasts are so susceptible to hurricanes and storms. And lately we had a horrible storm Dana that hit Valencia and flooded all the south suburbs of Valencia, nearby villages and towns. We stayed inside for a couple days in a row. The center of Valencia wasn't flooded, thank God, so we were lucky. Uh, when the storm calmed down a bit, there was almost no food or water in the supermarkets, and we also had some problems with our water pressure at home. So yeah, it was a very intense and very catastrophic week in Valencia. So, changing the topic, another difference that I noticed between Raleigh and Valencia during the fall time is how they celebrate Halloween. In the US, Halloween is a serious celebration. The streets are decorated, houses are beautifully decorated, and some people dress up with their kids into costumes. But here, I didn't notice too many decorations in the stores or on the buildings. There were some performances and fairy tales organized for kids in the city, and there were also some events and parties in the clubs and bars. But the majority of that was suspended and cancelled because of the Dana storm. So I actually don't know if there were any celebrations. And even if there were, I don't imagine anybody going there and celebrating exactly when that disaster was happening. Talking about celebrations, there were two major holidays in October. The 9th of October, the Day of Valencian Community, and the 12th of October, the National Spanish Day. I don't know if the theme is changed every year, but this year they organized a medieval parade and a medieval market on the 9th of October, and it was just amazing with all the costumes and songs and dances. It was a lot of fun. Most of the things were free, and it was so funny. They started to prepare to that holiday a week before, and then they were celebrating a week. So celebrating two holidays during 2 weeks is just amazing. I decided to sparkle the autumn vibe and to prepare pumpkin cream soup. You will probably judge me now because I didn't buy a pumpkin as a whole for that, but just a pre-cut pumpkin. Thank God they exist in Mercadona. I just hate cutting pumpkins and I always cut myself. So this is the best solution for me. The other thing I wanted to talk about is how cold it gets in Spanish apartments. Yeah, I'm wearing like layers right now. Sweater, and this is my husband's very warm shirt. So I put everything on, and this is including that it's warm outside. It's like 20 degrees, so it's still very warm. I don't know how it will be during the winter time. I don't know why, but it always gets cold in old Spanish buildings. That's not the same issue in more modern apartments, more modern buildings. But in the old buildings, this is very typical, and there is no heating. So this is something to remember about. Of course, if you have an AC, you can turn it on for heating, but be careful because then your expenses can be skyrocketing. That's why the solution is simple. Just put on more layers. This is the most economical solution. I'll say it like that. So as I mentioned, temperatures now are around 20-22 degrees above zero, but it starts to be chill from mid-November. The temperature normally drops to 15 degrees, 16 degrees, but it's the same temperature during this December. People just wear light jackets and sneakers. However, I do see people wearing boots. I don't know, it's still too warm for me as to wearing boots or anything. But the coldest months are January and February. Temperature here doesn't drop below zero, but it can be like 5-10 degrees above zero in these months. So this is how Valencia looks like during the fall. Starting from mid-November, the temperature will drop to around 16 degrees Celsius during the day and around 10 degrees during the night. But generally, fall here is very warm and mild, but starting from October, there will be cloudy and rainy days. I definitely miss fall, like I remember having in Poland or in North Carolina. Here it's a completely different vibe. But I don't like cold, so I prefer to stay here and once in a while to jump on a plane and go to a northern country to see that golden fall or snowy slopes. If you like this video, leave thumbs up and subscribe for more content about Valencia and Spain. And I see you next week. Hasta pronto!